Trafficking Hub is a decentralized global movement of individual survivors, organizations, and advocates from across a broad spectrum of political, faith, and non-faith, economic, and ideological background, all uniting together for the single purpose of shutting down Pornhub. There's certain things to it, even to the point that, I'm sitting here watching a documentary called After Porn Ends, the story of porn stars, what their life is like after they're out of the porn industry. A child can go on without logging in.
But you can't flag a video. If you see a video on Pornhub that you think is illegal, you can't just flag that video without actually logging in. Yet, they allow anybody to watch their entire library of millions of videos without logging in. So, how ethical is that?
Before we begin, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope you had a great time with your family, and I pray that everyone have peace. And also, I just want to remind every single one of you that my Patreon's available. If you're looking for a group, or if you're looking to have accountability in your life, please reach out to the Patreon, become a member. It's free. Also, you can become a member who can actually support the channel, support the Patreon. And what is the meaning of supporting the Patreon financially is that I'm going to bring people who teach the Bible, teachers, scholars, you name it, people, and also people who knows about mental health, stuff like that, which is going to help us out to grow, to mature, to get out of addictions, to get out of things that we've been struggling for a long, long time, something that actually happened to me, and I'm thankful. And also, I just want to make sure that everyone needs accountability. And I already said it in multiple times, but I'm going to say it again. If you want to keep your holiness, accountability is a tool that God has given us to keep our holiness and walking in holiness the whole time. I just want to let you know that. All right. So this video that I have, Patrick B. David had important people in the corn industry. I'm going to speak in code because they just purchased and bought Pornhub, a website that actually promotes pornographic content. But they've been actually getting a lot of backlash because they promote underage content. That means kids allegedly kids in the website. So Patrick B. David had a conversation with his people. I'm just gonna show you the after conversation with the lady who is suing and trying to take down Pornhub, not the corn industry, but Pornhub, which is something. It's a beginning. I just want to make sure everybody understands. This is a beginning of something, and we got to stand up for what is right. We got to stand up for what is true. Corn is not okay. Corn is not good. Sex outside the marriage content is not okay. Why? Because you defile your body. You defile what God actually has for you. It's a sin against your body. It's a sin against God. Okay, I'm gonna shut up, and I just want to warn you. It's going to be a tough conversation, so please keep your little ones away from this video at least. But I want to make sure you understand that my intention is to bring the truth. I'm going to show you exactly why, and I have Bible verses for it. So please stay at the end, and let's watch what I have for you guys today.
Little over a month ago, I sat down with the new owner of Pornhub, Solomon Friedman, and Ethical Capital Partners, and we had a conversation together. After the conversation, I asked a lot of questions, tough questions. Some of them were answered, some of them were not. It got to a lady named Layla Mickelwaite, who is the one that started Trafficking Hub petition and got 2.33 million signatures to shut down Pornhub. She reached out, says, Pat, a lot of things were said, a lot of things were missed. I want to come to your podcast and talk about it. Eventually, we were able to make it work. We had the conversation today. She comes with a folder this big, showing the lawsuits they're going through, an email exchange of CEOs and executives of what's being said, of taking down videos of underage porn that was under while MasterCard or Visa is asking them, why is this video still on your website? She's sharing that exchange. Very weird. She's talking about Bill Ackman, a guy that's worth almost $10 billion, getting involved and making a phone call to CEO of MasterCard or Visa, who was a former colleague that they played tennis together, saying, hey, did you know about this? And then all of a sudden, those guys took action. The amount of things that she shared with me and said, Pat, Solomon lied to you. This is her words. He lied to you when he said X, Y, Z. I want you to see this for yourself. If you know me as a family guy, I got 4 kids. Not a fan of this stuff that's out there, especially underage stuff and anything having to do with human trafficking. Many times when we think about child trafficking, we forget the fact that there's human trafficking above 18 years old or revenge porn, a lot of that stuff that's going on right now as well. Layla broken down in ways that I had no idea. This is what she does 24/7, following these stories, even to the point that the previous owner of Pornhub that ended up having tax issues reached out to her to tell her issues that's really going on Pornhub. Again, I want you to watch this for yourself and be the judge of whether this website should stay up or it should be taken down, because that's what they're trying to do there. And I think you're going to see some insight. If you enjoyed the previous one that we did, I think you're going to love this one here today, again, with Layla Mickelwait. Okay, so folks, a month ago or so, I interviewed the new owners of Pornhub, okay? Solomon Friedman, and he brought one of his associates, and we had a very good conversation together. It was to find out what's really going on, because the level of criticism that Pornhub's gotten over the years. And then while I'm doing that, one of the things we talked about was the petition. The fact that Trafficking Hub petition has roughly, Rob, if you can show this, 2.33 million signatures worldwide. And I said, that's very interesting. After the interview was done with the new owner, I get a message from a Layla that says, Patrick, I'm the one that posted that Trafficking Hub petition, getting all the signatures, and she wrote a book called Takedown, which we'll put the link below. Then I started looking into what she's done, the interview she's done, and I have, again, more questions about Pornhub. I thought it was the right thing to do to bring her here to give us a different perspective, not from the owner's perspective, but from the other side saying we need to do something about Pornhub. So with that being said, it's great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So tell me, when you watched it, like, what was it when you said, I'm going to reach out to Pat, I want to have a conversation? What part of the interview prompted you to want to do that?
From the beginning. I mean, from the beginning, it was clear that you were going to ask really good questions, and I want to give you credit for what you did. As an outsider, looking at the situation and being able to go deep into the important questions, but what I realized is that you weren't getting the answers, that there was deflection, that there was lies, and I said, look, we have to set the record straight, because there's nothing more important than the truth. The truth is what is really going to set people free. It's what's going to bring change in the situation. It's what's going to bring justice. And I said, look, we need to actually tell the truth. And so that's why I reached out.
Fantastic. Now, for the audience to know the outcome of Trafficking Hub. So I went and read what the outcome is. Rob, if you can go up a little bit so we can read that. Trafficking Hub is a decentralized global movement of individual survivors, organizations, and advocates from across a broad spectrum of political, faith, and non-faith, economic, and ideological background, all uniting together for the single purpose of shutting down Pornhub. So it's not getting them to use better technology like Yoti. It's not getting them to use better methods of, filtering things out. It's actually to shut down Pornhub and holding its executives accountable for enabling, distributing, and profiting from rape, child abuse, sex trafficking, and criminal image-based sexual abuse. So your outcome with Pornhub is to shut the website down.
100%.
Tell me why.
It's not to shut down the entire porn industry. It's to shut down a corporate trafficker, Pornhub, because, like you just said, they have globally distributed and profited from the trauma of countless victims since 2007. And what justice looks like in this situation is not a slap on the wrist. A slap on the wrist does not deter future abusers. A slap on the wrist does not bring healing and closure to victims. So from day one, when we realized that Pornhub was not a porn site, it was a crime scene infested with videos of real sexual crime, and the crime that gets distributed, it's one thing for a victim to be raped, but when that's filmed and then uploaded and then distributed for profit and pleasure to millions of users per day, they call it the immortalization of their trauma, where they'll never be able to get over that, because it's going to get just like the sadistic game of whack-a-mole. They just have to keep finding it and begging and trying to take it down and again and again. And victims of this kind of abuse, we call it image-based sexual abuse, all the way from child rape to adult rape and trafficking and what we used to call revenge porn. They have a 50% ideation rate for suicide. So this is really a life and death issue. And so we felt from the beginning that the call to action here was to shut down Pornhub, because we felt like that was, severe harm demands severe consequence. So,
you say that, and, you obviously know I pushed them very hard when they were here. And for me, it was like, what makes somebody want to be a porn star? There's certain things to it, even to the point that, I'm sitting here watching a documentary called After Porn Ends, the story of porn stars, what their life is like after they're out of the porn industry, and how do you go back to a normal life from that space. But there's a few things, Rob. Can you pull up the story of New York Times? The 2020 article, right? I think it is.
The Children of Pornhub.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the article that is disturbing to read, but I want to read it to you because I think it's stuff that we need to. I got 4 kids, and I openly talk to my kids about this kind of stuff to prepare them for them because they're 12, 10, specifically to the 12 and 11-year-old, but the 8 and 3, soon I'll be talking to them as well. I want to read this to you. So if you can zoom in, Rob, and we can read through this article together. So this is an article that they wrote, exact date, Rob, if you can go a little bit higher, December 4, 2020. 2020. Okay, yes. So, so Pornhub prides itself on being the cheery, winking face of naughty, the website billboard at Times Square, and provides snowplows to Boston. Okay, great. Next, the supposedly wholesome Pornhub attracts 3.5 billion visits a month, more than Netflix, Yahoo, or Amazon. This is when Yahoo was relevant that you didn't even mention it. Pornhub rakes in money from almost 3 billion ad impressions a day. One ranking lists Pornhub as the 10th most visited website in the world. And then as you go lower, you'll see this. Yet another side of the company, its site is infested with rape videos. It monetizes child rape, revenge pornography, spy cam videos of women showering, racist and misogynist content, footage of women being asphyxiated in plastic bags, a search for girls under 18, no space, or 14YO, no space, leads in each case to more than 100,000 videos. Most aren't of children assaulted, but too many are. After a 15-year-old girl went missing in Florida, her mother found her on Pornhub, and 58 sex videos, sexual assaults on a 14-year-old California girl were posted on Pornhub and were reported to authorities. I can go on and on and on reading this entire article. It's very disturbing. When this came out, there's a story that came out on how Pornhub reacted to this, which if I'm not mistaken...
Before we go with the video, further in the video, I just want to point something very interesting that it just came to me right now. If you read actually the article, because I read it, every single thing that it's saying, it's against women, against girls. And this is how important it is to protect us, the men, be the protectors of purity, be the protectors of women's bodies, be the protectors of children, be the protectors of kids, be the protectors. And this is actually the problem with a lot of men that don't have control and dominion over their body and their impulses and the way they act, because they just, can I just be honest with you? Many men act by instinct. They just become like animals, thinking that it's okay to peek a little bit, go to different websites. And you know, the horrible part is this, Patrick's gonna mention this further in the video, that this website right here has no control over who is watching, because they just want people to consume. And at the end of the day, the important thing is us men is to control our impulses, to protect people, because it's been breaking families, this type of stuff. It's going to break marriages. It's going to break things, because people just want satisfaction. They don't want to fix any problems. And it goes in every single way possible that we can think of in life. Not only just in your sex life, not only in your impulses and stuff like that. We need control over this stuff. We give too much for this type of stuff, yet we don't want to fix anything. And yet we don't want to fix problems in our families. Yet we don't want to fix nothing in our relationships, because we have a fantasy world. I'm just going to continue with this.
Mistaken, they took down 10 million videos.
They took down now today. So I want to update those stats for you, because by the end of 2020, so Trafficking Hub started in February of 2020. Mm-hmm. By the end of 2020, they had capitalized on coronavirus. So they had done some crazy PR stunts, which they're really good at doing, offering free premium to the entire world. Their views and their traffic skyrocketed. So by the end of 2020, they were actually, according to the CEO, the 5th most trafficked website in the world. They had 170 million visits a day, 62 billion visits per year.
That is insane.
And they had enough content being uploaded that it would take 169 years to watch if you put those videos back to back. Now, they had 56 million pieces of content on Pornhub at the end of 2020. Today, the story that's told here in this book, today, they have been forced to take down 91% of the entire site. They went from 56 million pieces of content in 2020 to 5.2 million pieces of content today, in what Financial Times has called probably the biggest takedown of content in internet history.
That's insane. So now it's 90%, because the article
91%.
91%.
Yes.
At the time it was 80%,
Yes.
the one that I read.
Correct. Yes.
That they take down. So let's go with that. Let's continue with that. So 56 million to 5.2 million. So their argument may be, Solomon Friedman, they bought it in March of 2023. Okay. So when I'm asking them, when you bought the company, there was a part when I said, okay, you bought the company. Of the things that you said the company has changed, oh, we no longer do that. Oh, we no longer do this. Oh, we no longer do that. Great. How many of the old executives and management team that was there when this was happening are no longer there, that you came in, you clean house, you fired them, and they're still there? What do you know about the old executive team versus a new one?
I thought that was a brilliant question, because when they purchased a hastily concocted pop-up private equity firm that called themselves Ethical Capital Partners, purchase a distressed asset. in March of 2023.
Right.
That was Pornhub and all of its parent, sister sites. Sorry, but this is a history. This is the trajectory of Pornhub from the beginning. So they started out as Mansef. Okay. When their owners got in trouble, they, it was over $6 million.
Mansef, Manwin, MindGeek.
Yes. Then they got in trouble with the law. Then they had to sell it. They sold it to a German entrepreneur named Fabian Tillman, who actually is, one of the people that came forward to help hold Pornhub accountable.
Former owner of Pornhub.
The former owner of Pornhub, Fabian Tillman. He's called the Zuckerberg of porn. So what he did, he got a $362 million loan from Colbeck Capital, and he rolled up the entire porn industry under one company that he called Manwin. Manwin dominated the global porn industry.
Fabian Tillman?
Fabian,
okay.
Exactly.
Please continue. I'll follow Manwin.
So Manwin, then he got in trouble. He got arrested for tax evasion. And then he had to sell the company again. So you see a pattern here. So he sold it to CEO and COO Faraz Antoon and David Tisillo, and a man who was a secret majority shareholder that purchased 61% of the site. He was unknown to anybody. He kept his identity hidden for years. We finally exposed him and found him in the midst of the trafficking hub movement to hold them accountable. His name was Bernd Bergmair. And so then he sold it to them, and then it became MindGeek. And then years later, they're in legal trouble. They've been charged by the federal government for knowingly and intentionally benefiting from sex trafficking. They lost Visa, MasterCard, Discover, PayPal, all cut ties with the site because they confirmed it was infested with videos of real sexual crime. They lost all mainstream advertisers and partners. Even KY Jelly and Weed Maps will not advertise on Pornhub anymore. They were kicked off.
Jelly will not
they will not.
On Pornhub.
No, they will not, because of what happened, because of the exposure that happened. Okay, and then they got sold again to Ethical Capital Partners, who is now renamed MindGeek, ALO. So you can see a pattern. This is kind of what has happened over the years with Pornhub. As they get in trouble, they try to rebrand, they get in trouble, they try to rebrand, and now this is the latest iteration.
But when you say that, so what is the pattern? The pattern is who the buyers are, or the pattern is the new people come in and they're turned on by how much traffic these guys are getting, and they try to clean it up and nobody can. What is the pattern?
It's not that they can't. They don't want to because of the business model. But I do want to go back to your question, because the question was, whose heads rolled? Who actually got fired from the company? Who left the company? And it was the CEO and the COO, who are the minority shareholders, David Tisillo and Faraz Antoon. Again, two men that had hidden themselves from the public for so many years until they were finally exposed and had to face the public in a parliamentary inquiry in 2021. But they were forced to leave the company.
I just want to make sure we're not going to listen to all this, but what I want to show is the amount of content they had, minor, underage content in this website. Let me just find it really quick. All right. So, corn industry is not going to go away because it's protected. I think Lila's going to say something about this. And this is what the part that I want to show you guys really quick, because, it becomes political at some point in a lot of ways. But we as Christians, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to stand up for what is right. Lila, I don't know if you guys know this, but Lila is Christian, and she's trying to do something against this website that is doing something wrong. We're not going to break the law, but we're not going to stand with a government who is not protecting the minors, protecting the underage, protecting people, innocent. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But we stand up and say, this is not okay. This is not right. We don't agree with this, that the government is protecting these people, protecting the corn industry at the end of the day. But, all right, let's go watch this part.
So I think that is the ultimate solution, in addition to governments enacting the same policy.
So this, even if you shut down Pornhub, it's not going away, because the porn laws in America are not going to. By the way, it's so interesting because in this election, porn was one of the issues in the election. I don't know if you saw the video or not. Did you see the ad the Democrats ran?
Oh, I think I did. Where it was scaring people that they're going to take away the porn.
Watch
and all
this
that.
here.
Yeah.
One of the ads they ran, Rob, I think we texted it to you. If folks are watching this is not a spoof. This is a real commercial ran with budget of Kamala Harris to scare people who watch porn to not vote for Republican. This is maybe one of the weirdest commercials ads I've ever seen in my life. The only thing that was missing is Kamala Harris coming at the end and saying, "Hi, I'm Kamala Harris and I endorse this message." Go ahead and play this clip.
Sorry, you can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning porn nationwide.
You can't tell me what to do. Get out of my bedroom, you creep.
I won the last election, so it's my decision. I'm just going to watch and make sure you don't finish illegally.
I mean, it's ridiculous because, porn, like it or not, it's legal. It's constitutionally protected as expression, okay? It's not going away. That's not my goal. That's not the goal of Trafficking Hub. That's not the goal of my organization, the Justice Defense Fund. We're after making sure that these sites are not infested and globally distributing and monetizing sexual crime. That is what we're after. And the problem with Pornhub is that it is doing that. And so when we're shutting down Pornhub, it's not shutting down all porn. If you want to have porn, you do so legally. You do so by verifying age and you verify consent.
What are the laws right now with porn when it comes down to underage porn?
It's illegal. I mean, it's illegal to possess it. It's illegal to distribute it, to advertise it, to monetize it.
Why are there so many sites that have it?
They're breaking the law, but there's not enforcement.
And why are they not being held accountable?
There's not enforcement of the
I
law.
don't get that, though. I don't understand. I'm very confused with that part. So who wouldn't enforce that law? It's kids. You know, we had a guest on here a couple of days ago where the interview went out and it was a great I wish she would mention more people that are alive instead of just mentioning people that are no longer here with us. One of the conversations was around the fact that according to the FBI, 2022 data, 359,000 children are missing. I mean, I had a dog missing for 9 days, Jimbo, and we were devastated as a family. Parents missing a child? Are you kidding me? The pain? What policy is above that? I don't know what policy is above that.
It's not a matter of the policy. It's a matter of the enforcement. And I think the problem is there's so much of this going on and there's not enough political will and there's not enough resources being dedicated to do it. And that's why I think there's power in civil litigation. Because civil litigation puts the power into the hands of the victim.
I just want to make a pause right here really quick. I just want to make sure you understand Lila cannot actually say a lot of things because legally she will lose her fight against this taking down porn sites where underage content is shown. And you guys are gonna say, well, this is a double standard. She's not trying to fight against the porn industry. Like, no, but in a sense, yes. Why? Because once you take down this websites, you're taking down porn. You're taking down this stuff. You have to understand that these porn sites are not actually doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying, and I'm not telling you to go and consume it because no, this is not okay. Technically, morally, this is not okay. That the government is allowing it to happen with people, let it just be legally. That's your problem. That's their problem. But the thing is, if you think about it, Lila is actually very smart. She's taking all the loopholes that these porn sites have in order to take him down forever, including the legal stuff. So just think about it. Think about it. It's not that hard to understand. She cannot say, hey, I'm against porn industry and I'm gonna take him down. No, you can't because it's legal. It's protected by the government. Now they have stuff. They've been doing stuff behind scenes that they're not supposed to do, and it's illegal. Now let's take him down by that. You gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. And I give it up for Lila, and she's doing a great job.
Victims. They decide whether or not they're going to pursue justice in court, and they're not waiting and relying upon the government. And what often can happen is when you have a powerful legal complaint and the lawyers do all their work and discovery and they unearth all of the facts and the evidence, then the criminal prosecution can come on the heels of that. And basically they use everything they found in the civil litigation to pursue the criminal. It makes their job easier. And we've seen that over and over again.
Yeah. Do you remember the part when I asked them a question? I said, so is your goal as in Pornhub to help people go out of the porn industry? Oh, no, a lot of people are very happy with their jobs. And I said, so what are you talking about? How the hell does somebody become a porn star at 18 years old? They consumed underage to be inspired to do that, right? And you go through these data and you talk to other people and say, so what is the profile of somebody that becomes a baseball player? Well, da-da-da-da-da. What is the profile of somebody that becomes a lawyer? What is the profile of somebody that becomes a dentist? What is the profile of somebody that becomes a realtor, an actor, an athlete? What is the profile of somebody that becomes a porn star? What is that profile? What percentage of that is broken homes where kids are forced to find a way and you go look up some of the statistics on, percentages on what kids are going through, on how they get introduced to this business. As you're going through this search and the 2.33 million people that are messaging you, how many people have reached out to you that are former porn stars or former abusers that are saying, hey, my clips are still out there? How many of those people are reaching out to you?
A lot. I mean, some of my most helpful allies in this fight have been those in the porn industry or formerly in the porn industry, but in the porn industry. I mean, talk about illegal content, it's not just child rape and trafficking, it's copyright violations, pirated content on these free sites. So, at one point I had several porn performers who were telling me they spent hours a day scouring Pornhub and its sister tube sites trying to find their own illegal content to try to take it down. In the course of doing that, they were coming across a whole bunch of child abuse and trafficking, and they were sending the links over. But, some of the greatest allies have actually been in the industry.
All right. So in this part, I just want to show you how they profit and how they make money. And this is something that they need to be accountable for, this type of stuff, because that's how they break in the law in a lot of ways. But you gotta understand, it's like they have no consequences on checking. First of all, if a minor goes right now into that website, to those websites, they have no way for them to check their age or if they are underage. So that's how you start consuming all the stuff. And it's just something that me and my wife were talking about, because I said, I'm going to talk about this underage thing that is happening with the porn industry. And she's like, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away, because at the end of the day, people who is consuming this stuff, it's already slave of what it's the consumption part of this industry is. They're super fans. And, if you are a Christian, if you are consuming this type of stuff, including only cans, you know what I'm saying? What website is that? Well, you need to check your heart. You need to check who you are. You need to check who do you belong to. Because at the end of the day, I just want to tell you, your body doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God. It's part of you becoming a new creature, according to 2 Corinthians 5:17. If we are new creatures and we are people who say that we belong to God, then your body, then your sexuality, then your identity belongs to God. So I'm not going to go further into this, but let's just watch this part.
He started using Yodi of everybody in the video a month before they came on the podcast, because they came on October 4th. You were saying September 3rd?
September 3rd, 2024 is when they started doing this. And they even then sent a follow-up email to say, I know this is going to cause friction, right? It's going to be a more difficult process to upload. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a loophole for you. So let me show you another email.
Is that an article, Rob, that shows what they're using? Is that announces biometric technology to verify users?
Yes. This is February 3rd, 2021 from Vice. And in it, they mention Yodi right down here.
For uploaders. It's for uploaders.
So for uploaders, they started in 2021. Yes. But for everybody in the video, they started at September 3rd of 2024.
And they implemented a system. So what they did was, to make it easier, they created essentially what's a loophole to the system, where they created an auto tag option where anybody, so you can get one person verified, and they describe it here as an auto tag function. So if you auto tag somebody else, that they will automatically, they don't have to verify their age and consent in that. So I'm trying to explain how this works. So you have a performer that is actually verified. So they show their ID and they do their consent form. Then they can toggle on this feature that they describe in these emails to their users, where they can auto accept incoming tags. So another person could have X, Y, and Z individuals in their videos. And in order for them to get around actually having to show the ID and consent of all those individuals, they can go to somebody who has the auto accept, auto tag on, and just tag them. Okay. And what they said in this email, if they abuse the feature and try to tag you in a video that you're not in, our compliance team will catch it and may not allow it. May not. Do you know what may not means? This is tricky, right? May not means we may allow it, right? So even now, it's clear that this system isn't really a robust and reliable system. And yet they're here, sitting here, Alex, with that cross around her neck, and she's been there for so many years. She was there when these children were being abused, were the rape and trafficking victims. And even today, they have illegal content on the site. And you know how I know this? The proof is the fact that they had to file a report under the Digital Services Act. The Digital Services Act is a European law. And they really fought hard not to have to report under the Digital Services Act. They said, look, we're not a very large online platform, is their argument, because very large online platforms have to report. And they actually did. And they had to report how many videos that they took down that were illegal content. And from February 15 of 2024 to June 30 of 2024, they reported 3,770 images that they believed were child sexual abuse material that had to be taken down. And over 8,000, it was 8,679, I think was the number, of non-consensual and adult rape videos. So that's averaging about 1,000 children and 2,000 adults per month, because this was 4.5 months. that they had to disclose. And that's not counting 300,000 videos that they just lumped in under general terms of service violations. General terms.
Like, who do you go to report this and they get involved and say, whoa, this is, we got to investigate this?
Law enforcement's helpful.
They are helpful.
Yes.
In what way?
I mean, they will actually process a video. So there's certain attorney general's offices across the United States that have, become passionate about this issue and care about it. And so a video could be sent to them and they will then reach out to Pornhub and demand that it comes down. So that's helpful. One thing that's not helpful is that Ethical Capital Partners has set up a system where if a user sees a problematic video on Pornhub, they can't just flag the content and take it, actually just flag it. They have to log in.
That's how you just tweeted that.
They have to create a user account in order to report it. Now, I find that interesting because children don't have to create a user account to watch the videos on Pornhub.
What? What
in
do you
the
mean?
world. So a child, right? Anyone with a device.
Go to Pornhub.com.
All they have today, and they didn't even have this.
You're going to be fine because I'm the one that's going to write you up.
So they only have.
Shoot, back up.
Yeah,
okay, I didn't. Seriously, that's the homepage?
Yes.
Okay. They didn't even have an RU18 click-through button when all of this started in 2020 that any 5-year-old
I hear them
could
laughing in the
navigate
back.
through.
You see those guys in the back? So let me ask you. You're so funny, Humberto. I can hear you. So a child can go on without logging in?
But
I
you
don't
can't.
understand
But
that.
you can't flag a video. If you see a video on Pornhub that you think is illegal, you can't just flag that video without actually logging in. Yet they allow anybody to watch their entire library of millions of videos without logging in. So I mean, how
crazy.
ethical is that, right?
So, okay. So you go in, anybody can go through any of the videos that are on there. But if I want to report something, I need to log in. I've already consumed the video. I've seen it. But if I want to report, I have to log in. Why do I have to log in to report?
I think that it's a deterrent factor. Now, the company had 1,800 employees by the end of 2020, and they employed one person to work 5 days a week reviewing videos flagged by users as containing terms of service violations, including what would be child rape, trafficking, all sorts of non-consensual content. Okay? They had a policy that a video had to be flagged 15 times before it was put in line for review. Are you following me? So an abuse victim,
Before
a
it was
child.
put in for review, one person that does 5 days a week, I'm following.
Right. So a victim could find their abuse on Pornhub. They would have to flag it over 15 times for it to even be put in line for review.
Oh, wow.
And their entire backlog was 706,000 videos. Now,
706,000 videos of 15 times being flagged?
of a backlog of flagged videos. Videos that were flagged.
Not 15 times, just flagged
Yes,
once.
just flagged videos. Now, here are the emails that are saying, so this is the CEO again.
let me
They're in
put it
trouble
in
with
big
MasterCard.
Is this the old CEO or the
for
new
Ross
CEO?
Antune, but the CPO, who's currently the same CPO, the VPs that are currently the same VPs, are discussing this policy. And they're talking about, look, he says, the below seems good and reasonable. Videos with 15 flag is never viewed. And they say, we have 706,425 videos that have been flagged that are in the backlog, okay? So this was the process. Now tell me, based on that, is it any wonder that they make it difficult to flag videos? I don't know how many they have today, but that's the system
CPO
they
is the
have.
chief product officer?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the chief product officer? What's the name of the guy?
Karim
you look
El
up-
Marazi. Karim El Marazi.
Karim Al-Marazi?
Yes. ELMARAZI.
Oh, is that it? Like it's separate? No, just he's giving you a suggestion right there. It says, do you mean? Yeah, right there. Is this the guy?
There he is, right there. Yeah.
Okay, so can we read his background? I want to know his background. Karim Al-Marazi is currently chief product.
I mean, you guys can go check this out. So technically, they have just one person checking for all the flags, all flag videos into the system. First of all, I just gotta acknowledge this. It's super easy to get into those websites. I was according to Pat right now. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna open my website. Nothing like that. No. Number two, I'm gonna actually recommend something at the end. So stay at the end. I'm gonna recommend something. If you're struggling with corn, please stay at the end. I'm gonna recommend something for you guys. Number two, they are taking in consideration that the CEO of Pornhub, who was actually interviewed by Patrick Bet-David on October 4, he told Patrick that they have hundreds of people behind checking every single tag or flagged videos for this. And I'm just going to go into that part right here. And then after this, I'm just going to go to scripture and we'll leave.
2,000.
In 2020.
Okay, so if they got 2,000 per day, it works if you have hundreds, like they said.
To review every video.
To review every
Yes.
video. It doesn't work
So
if it's only 30.
The problem is it doesn't matter if they have 10,000 moderators. If they're not verifying the age and consent of every individual in every video, it's a guessing game. And you hit on that during your interview. It's a game of Russian roulette with people's lives because there's no way that they can guess properly who's 16 and who's 18, right?
Yeah.
Because not even a pediatrician can guess on a consistent basis who's 15 and who's 18. You just cannot do it.
Is this the part, Rob?
This is where they explain how many moderators
Can
they
I
have.
can I hear this? I'm curious.
Every single video is reviewed by a human. We have age ID consent for uploaders, everybody appearing in content. There is absolutely no incentive to do otherwise on our platform. I always make that point. Like from a business perspective, there's no incentive to do anything but the highest standards of trust and safety. So you have a company with 1,500 people, you're going to have people who are saying nonsense.
Technical product manager?
So I have to say this. This is not someone, obviously, when I'm reviewing the company, and I look very, very carefully at it, including spending time. None of these are not trust and safety staff. These are not moderators. These are not people in compliance. Whatever idea they have, although it's very interesting, we learned something from these videos.
Yep.
We actually learned a very important lesson, which was you can have a company of 1,500 people, and you'll have graphic designers, and you'll have salespeople and customer support. All of them need to be educated on our trust and safety system. So we actually, the company in response, and I think it was absolutely the right thing to do. Now, doesn't matter if you're the janitor.
Are they going to tell us how many moderators, Rob?
They're not. They're going to say
He
they have
continues
100.
this word salad where he actually doesn't answer how many moderators
They won't
have.
They won't say exactly how many they were.
No, he just keeps stating that they have
used to have
1,500
30.
employees.
Okay, but here's what he just said was they review every single video. Now, let me say, they've been saying that since they started defending themselves in 2020.
All right.
Let me tell you what that means. That is their admission of deep complicity because there was a 12-year-old boy, right, drugged, overpowered, and raped in 23 videos with titles that indicated that it was abuse. I won't say what they are on because I don't want people to be disturbed, but the titles of the videos, and maybe I will. I mean, Young Ass is Best, Uncle Secret, Little Nephew, things like that on these videos. They had, right, confirmed by the Sunday Times, children as young as 3 on the site.
Be quiet.
The Sunday Times did an investigation in late 2019. They found dozens of videos on the site that were illegal within minutes, even children as young as 3. They have had, now I've seen these videos, and this is described in the New York Times piece by Nick Kristof, videos where victims are so unconscious and drugged, their bodies are completely limp, and a masked assailant is actually lifting the eyelids of the victims. You can see their red bloodshot
What are
eyes.
you talking about?
And actually touching the eyeballs of these victims.
In Pornhub.
On Pornhub. Drug needles where you could see the needle with which they were drugged. And I don't want to disturb people by describing it in too much detail, but let's just say it is clear that this is not acting. Okay? When you're actually tickling the feet and you're touching the eyeballs of a rape victim, and what they're saying is that their moderators, what he just said was that this is what they've been saying since 2020.
Let me see here. Let me just check it out. I came across many videos on Pornhub that were recordings of assaults on unconscious women and girls. The person taking advantage of the minor or unconscious person will open the eyelids of the victims and touch eyeballs to show that they were not responsive. First of all, I gotta give it up to Patrick but David. Hey, Patrick, good job. Good job. Patrick, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. I'm standing behind you. I'm a dad of 5 girls. And because of the what happened in my my childhood, you guys know the story a little bit. If you don't know, I was SA when I was a kid. When I was 8 years old, me and my brother, we were SA by a member of a church. And it was sad. I'm not gonna lie. I struggled with pornography for the majority of my youth. And also, I just want to make sure that I worked to get out of that. And it's always a fight. It's always something that you have to keep your holiness and you got to hold yourself accountable. In order for me to hold myself accountable, I have something that is called Covenant Eyes. And I'm going to send it to my phone so you guys can see it. If you're struggling with this is something that I recommend for a lot of people. And it's it could help you to become holy and to keep your holiness. That's for sure. I'm going to put it on the screen. Covenant Eyes. It's a great tool So I just invite you. I wanna make sure you partner with people, with your community, your church, somebody who's been probably through this. I've been through this, and I just want to make sure you understand. My position is always to try to keep yourself accountable. This is how you keep your holiness. This is how you keep yourself holy. This is how you keep yourself apart from and set apart from what is happening in the world. Number 2, I stand up as a dad of 5. I stand up as a dad of 5 girls to stand for the truth. And what is my call as a Christian? Micah 6:8. Oh people, no, oh people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires from us. If you are a believer, if you are a Christian, this is what it requires from you to do what is right. What is right now is to stand up for those who can't fight, for the voiceless. Be the voice for those who cannot say anything. To love mercy and to walk humbly before God. This is the 3 requirements that God has for all his kids, for all of us. And overall, to love the sinner, to love people. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. So if you love people, and by you consuming this type of stuff, you are not actually loving the innocent. You're not loving people. You are not loving justice. You're not loving what is good, what is right. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoice whenever the truth wins. And right now, Layla, it's working hard. So I stand with Layla, and I hope all of my viewers right now can see this, that I stand up with Layla and trying to take down this website. This type of stuff is going to bring justice. And if you're like I said, I just told you moments ago, Layla was trying to do is get all these loopholes and trying to catch this websites in the things that they doing wrong, so she can take him down. The way she's doing is super smart, and I pray for her, and I pray for protection in her life also, because she comes across a lot of things. I bet she comes across with a lot of images, pictures, and stuff like that I just pray for her life, pray for her own sanity, for her mind to be protected. So let's pray for her, and let's pray for people who's actually trying to protect the innocent, especially underage, especially kids who are going through this. Again, my story, if you don't know my story, I was a kid who was SA when I was a kid. And I struggled with a lot of things in my life, a lot of things in my youth that I didn't actually want to confess. I didn't want to tell my parents. And at some point, I was done with it. I was done. I didn't want to live this way. I didn't want to get married and have to carry all this stuff in my marriage. So I thank God for the people around me. I thank God for the people it held me accountable. And still, I have people who holds me accountable. And in order for me to keep myself accountable, I always do something, and this is actually something that, this is my daughter right here, but one of my daughters. Me and my wife, we have the same password. She can go into my phone. It's open. I'm an open book in that sense. I'm an open book in a lot of things. I'm an open book, I'm not gonna open my whole family to you guys, but at the same time, because what is happening in the world, but I've been through stuff. I've been through things that only God can actually help us, and a lot of support from my family members, a lot of support from friends, and also I keep myself accountable to this day. I live with a short leash, and I just want to make sure I keep myself accountable because, for number one, I love God, I love my family, I love my wife, and I want to make sure my passions are not in the middle. What I want is not in the middle. And I just invite every single one of you guys, men, especially women too, to keep yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable to someone And this is the way God uses the body of Christ. That's why you need to go to church. That's why you need to have conversations with people. That's why you need to open up. The Bible says that we have to confess our sins so we can be healed, so we can move on, so we can get rid of all this stuff and become the new creature that we supposed to be, according to 2 Corinthians 5:17. I invite you, I encourage you to actually do this first step. And if you want to do that, if I'm actually an instrument for this to help you out, let it be. You have, and I invite you to go check my Patreon. Go check it out. We are going to start groups. I'm waiting for you so we can actually talk about this stuff. We can hold accountable. We can hold people accountable through that. And but I invite you to visit local churches, become a member, become part of the body of Christ. And if you need Christ as your Lord and Savior today, if you say that Jesus is the Lord and Savior of your life, make that the practical theology in your life. So in order for you to become free and get rid of all this stuff, the mindset that you have before Christ. All right. I gotta go. I love you guys. I hope this actually encourages you. I hope this brings reality also. And I'm sorry I had to go this way, but I have to bring reality to the deception the enemy is trying to do, which is destroy you. The enemy came to destroy, to kill. So if you let it, he's gonna do that. He's gonna do so. So I invite you to take a stand, to stand up for your family, to stand up for your soul, to stand up for your salvation, to stand up for what you believe it is right. And I'll see you guys next time. Like this video, subscribe, hit the notification button, share this video, and we'll see you next time.